So anyway, in the last class, what we are discussing about 24, 25 is the last class, right? 26. Yeah, 25 is the last class. Okay, let me copy the notes from this. And let me create a new folder for today's class. I'm trying to creating a new folder for today's class. Okay, new folder. And this is 28 by 8. Okay, so let me paste the notes here inside the folder. Okay, so finally I want to launch VS Code, Visual Studio Code. Let me open folder. 28 by 8. Select folder. Now let me open the notes. Okay, so in last class we are discussing about how to access elements, how to access classes, how to access ID from HTML to JavaScript. These are the syntaxes basically. Access elements from HTML to JavaScript is very simple. Access classes from HTML to JavaScript, very simple. Access ID from HTML to JavaScript, also simple. But I discussed about elements. All the similar elements are going to be storing in one array. And all the similar classes are going to be storing in one array. At the same time, ID is unique. So this is the concept actually last time I discussed, but one more time I want to take a paint here. Let's try to launch the paint here. And for example, this is my HTML web page. And in this web page, I'll be having a lot of similar elements. When we have similar elements, for example, all the similar elements are going to be storing in one array. All the similar elements. Okay, for example, let me take another list. And let me take another list. Okay. So here we will be having all the similar elements. For example, I'll be having multiple H1s in my web page. H1, 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 H1. See, like this, there are multiple H1s, but all these elements are going to be storing in one array. This is the H1 array. The way of document, how the document was getting ready, how the document was getting prepared is all your similar name elements are storing in one array. All H1 related content, H1 related elements are going to be storing in one array. At the same time, all your H2 related elements are going to be storing in one array. All H2s are going to be storing in one array. And here, this is also an array. This is also an array. And coming to the classes, for example, I'll be having a lot of class names. For example, there is a class name called Srini, or there is a class name called Apple. I'll be having all the Apple classes in one array. Apple, something like this. All the similar name classes are going to be storing in array. And this is an element array. This is element array. And here, this is the element array. Element array. And this is class array. This one is the class array. And IDs, when we have ID, but IDs are going to be storing uniquely separately. For example, this is the ID and this is the ID. All IDs are unique. ID names are unique. That is the reason you can able to access all your IDs by the ID name. So you can access this ID separately, and you can access this ID separately, and you can able to access this ID separately. Every ID is unique. So remember, every ID is unique. All these IDs are unique. But when we try to access this particular array index is going to be starting with 0, sir. Remember it. This is the structure of array. This is the structure of array. How array is going to be designed with Your array is going to be divided with the multiple elements like this, but your array index starts with a 0. Array always index starts with a 0. So this is the array, a list of elements, but here this is the 0th element, and this is the 1 element. This is the index element 1, and this is the index 2. Index starts with index of array. Index of array start with 0, number 0, and length of array starts with 1. Remember these 2 points. So when I come to variables and data types, then I will explain all these things. Don't worry about it. 1. Length of array starts with 1. Index of array is going to be start with a 0. Remember it. Kaushik, Praswal, Ritesh, and Ritesh. Okay, fine. Now let me go to the program, and I'm trying to accessing elements and trying to accessing classes and trying to accessing the ID also. But before that, I want to explain one more simple concept for you. There are 2 more important methods we are trying to learning today. 2 more important concepts we are trying to learning today, but with the program we can go for that. Okay, so let me go with the paint here. This is the paint I got stored. Okay, now let me go to the notes. And the first concept is how to access elements from HTML to JavaScript, and how to access classes from HTML to JavaScript, and how to access ID from HTML to JavaScript. First, we will go with the accessing element part. Let me take a new program. This one is saved. And first one, access elements. Access elements. .html. This is the .html file. This is access elements. Now let me save this. Access elements.html file in 28x8 folder. I'm saving it. Okay, let me try to take multiple elements. For example, I'm taking an element called h1. I'm trying to taking an element called h1. So let me try to take multiple h1s over there. I'm copying all the h1 elements here. I'll be having a bunch of h1s, and I'm having a bunch of h2s now. Full stack web development, for example. Full stack web development. Here I'm trying to full stack web development. And let me try to copy this h2s now. A bunch of h2s. Let me take a bunch of h2s. Now tell me, how many h1s are there here? Now tell me how many h1s are there. Similar name of elements. How many h1s are there? 5. Okay, 5. So the first h1 I want to access, and the first h2 I want to access, or second h2 I want to access. Let me try to write a script now. Now this is access elements. Okay, document is basically referring your complete HTML content. Document is your HTML only. Now the total HTML is referring as document. Document dot symbol. Dot is the required one. And get elements by tag name. The method, very important method, and this is case sensitive. JavaScript is case sensitive. Please try to remember it. G small letter, E capital letter at the same time, B capital letter, T capital letter, N capital letter. JavaScript is case sensitive. The first letter starts with a small letter and middle breaks are capital letter. This is called camel case. The cases and all we will discuss later. And document is all small letters. Document dot get elements by tag name of the tag. You have to give with a parenthesis. That parameter should be having with the single quotes or double quotes. Let me take a single quotes, and this will be h1. Tag name is h1. And I want to access the first h1. If you want to access the first h1, first of all, you need to specify the index. So what is the index here? Index is 0. Okay, so I just want to give some inner HTML for that. Inner HTML is a method which is going to be changing your inner text of the first h1. Okay, I'm trying to overriding the inner HTML with the Srinivas. I'm trying to updating the inner HTML of the first element or 0th element is Srinivas. Now let me launch this browser. Try to launch this browser. When I try to launch this browser, your browser got displayed with the first H1 content got updated with Srinivas. Basically, in HTML, I'm writing web development only. But when we launch the browser, now you can able to see the different output for the H1, first H1. Can you see what happened? What happened for the first H1? I got DOM manipulation here. This is called DOM manipulation. What manipulation I'm performing here now? Access element, and perform a DOM operation. What operation I perform now? Anybody? What I'm trying to doing here?
DOM operation.
DOM operation. What kind of operation I'm trying to performing? I am trying to performing inner HTML change. See, what is the inner HTML here is very simple. Inner HTML is this one. This is called inner HTML. This one, whatever the web development is there, that web development is replacing with Srinivas content. That is basically inner HTML. See, document is the first method. The first method is document. Document is this one. This one is document. Total your HTML content is documents. Okay. So from document, I'm trying to accessing get elements by tag name. I'm trying to accessing H1s. All H1s are storing in one array. All your H2s are storing in one array. Index starts with a 0. The first H1 means first H1 is having index 0. Try to observe this. Very, very simple. Straightforward. Method is very long, but it is very simple. Document dot get elements by tag name. Okay, let me show the browser. What is the browser output is? Browser output is very simple output. What is the output of the browser? The first H1 I got updated with Srinivas. Okay, the first H2 or second H2 I want to update with some other text. What I can do for that? Document dot get elements by tag name. Name of the tag is again H2 now. This time H2 and of 0. I just want to give the inner HTML is equal to something like a header. Just hide HOID header. Okay, now you can see. The first H2 or second H2. What H2 got updated? First one or second one? I'm giving 0 only. I'm giving 3.
First.
Or I'm giving 2. I'm giving 2 now. H2 of 2. H2 of 2 means a third H2. Third H2 got updated with HOID. It means I can able to go and change the inner HTML of the particular element. Okay, you want to do all the H1s, whatever the number of H1s you have, all the H1s I want to make it change means you need to write a loops basically. So when I come to the topic called loop, then I will explain about it. For example, I don't know how many H1s are there in my HTML content, or how many forms are there in my HTML content, how many H2s are there in my HTML content, how many inputs are there in my complete HTML content. I want to take all the inputs. I want to replace with all the buttons I want to change. Then you have to go for the loops. When I come to the loops topic, then I will explain about it. But now I am actually changing only the single element. Okay. Now for this particular one, I want to change. This is the basically DOM operation. But what access elements and perform some operation. Okay. CSS object. CSS I want to change. See, when you want to perform some operation for the first element, okay, document dot get elements by tag name. Name of the tag is h1 of 0 dot style dot color. I want to update a color also. Color I want to update with a red color. That's it. Okay, now access the second H2 document dot get elements by tag name of the tag is h1 of 2, h2 of 2, sorry, h2 of 2 dot style dot color is equal to some blue color. I want to update a blue color. Okay, now you try to refresh the web page. Try to refresh the web page. You got updated with the first h1. I got updated with the red color, and the third h2 I got updated with the blue color. See how you can able to perform some SOM operation. What is a SOM operation? Is COM, SOM or COM, whatever maybe. COM operation. What this COM operation is? CSS object model. DOM means document object model. Document object model. I am trying to applying some CSS. I want to make alignment center, text align center. Let me do that. Okay, so text align center. The same thing I want to make it copy here and paste here again. And h1 of 0 dot style dot text align is equal to, go with a single quotes or double quotes, center. I'm just making center. See, you try to observe something in CSS. In CSS, how to write text align property? Text hyphen align. In JavaScript, how you are writing this one? Text A converted to capital letter. That is actually camel case. Now, text align property in camel case now. Text hyphen align basically in CSS, but in JavaScript, the same property converted to camel case. Camel case means first letter, small letter, middle breaks are capitals. That is what actually camel case is. Now, the text align got converted to camel case. That's it. Simple. You already know about CSS properties, right? Those CSS properties in JavaScript hyphens will not work out. In JavaScript, only camel case will work out. Okay, let me do the one more thing. I want to update the background color also. Background color. Where is the background color? Can you see background color is available? Basically, in CSS, background color, how you write? Background hyphen color. But in JavaScript, that was converted to camel case. How camel case will be? Background C capital letter. That is one. Now, background color, I want to go with something like a light gray color or light blue color. That's it. Light blue color background color I want to go for. You can see that some CSS got updated for the first one. Light blue color background color given at the same time, or light green is better. And one more property I want to update. One more property that was text font style. I want to update the font style. Font style italic. Let me go for italic mode. See, can you please try to observe? I'm trying to updating multiple properties, multiple CSS properties for the same H1 by accessing element name. Is it clear? Is it simple?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For the H2, you can do the H2 also. For H2 also, you can do whatever you want. Okay, let me take all the properties. Let me take all the properties and trying to updating with H2 of 2. And this time H2 of 2. This time H2. And here I will take 2 now. 2 and sorry, 21 is not there. 2 and 2. And color is blue. Okay, everything is good. And this one orange. Why? Because blue have some orange color background. That is good now. Now we are updating first H1 and third H2 with some changes. We are doing some changes for that. You have to remember how to access element. Without accessing element, I can't able to apply some event also for that. That is the important thing. Okay, now this is the part of how to access elements. The next program I want to take for how to access classes. Take new and access classes. Access underscore classes dot HTML again. Now I'm trying to accessing classes. First of all, if you want to access classes, you need to write a classes. We don't have any class now. Okay, web development. So can I copy all the content from this HTML content? Let me take all the HTML and content copy and paste in this program. Okay, now I'm taking a classes. This one have some class called one or red. Class called some apple. Okay. This is the class called apple. Somewhere apple class is available. Somewhere apple class is available. And here also we have a class called apple. And somewhere for the H2 we have the class called apple. Now I want to access a class called one. Okay, so what is the class I want to access? Document dot. Okay, let me give the comment here. Access classes. Document dot. Tell me. Get elements by class name. This time it is class name method. Okay, what is the name of the class? Name of the class is apple. Apple of one dot inner HTML is equal to. I just want to update my name Srinivas. At the same time, I want to update some color for that. Document dot get elements by class name. Name of the class is apple. Sorry, which program that one? Name of the class is apple. At the same time, I want to take a index called one and dot style. Dot style dot. Let's give some color is equal to some red color. At the same time, I want to apply more and more styles for that. Okay, let me give the more and more styles. Copy here. Paste here and paste here. And this time, this is apple one dot style dot color. And this time it is text align and center. And whatever you want, you can just do that. Font style, italic. Can you see that? And background color, if you want to apply, you can apply background color. So let me launch this one. Now I'm trying to accessing a class called apple and index called one. The class called apple and index one. Index one related class. Now all these classes are going to be storing in one array. All the similar name classes are storing in one array. This is 0 and this is 1 and this is 2. Is it clear? Similar name classes are storing in one array. Similar name of elements are already storing in one array. At the same time, similar name classes are going to be storing in one array. In some other program, it is called a list. But here in this JavaScript, it is called array. In Python, it is calling as a list. But in JavaScript, it is calling as an array. Array index starts with a 0 and array length starts with 1. And this time I'm having a apple, but apple first apple is 0, second apple is 1, third apple is 2. We have only 3 elements in my array. I got only apple in the array. I have only 3 apple. It means 0, 1, 2. Is it clear? Can I go for ID now? Everything is clear. Now access ID. Access ID dot HTML. Now take multiple elements. Let me take multiple elements. Okay. So this one is web development. Or let me take 3 elements. 3 elements. 3 or 4, whatever it is. Now I'm trying to providing some ID attribute here. ID is 1. ID is 1. And here for the second H1, ID is 2. And third H1, I'm giving a ID is 3. Totally, I'm going to be taking 3 H1s. Every H1 have individual ID name. By the ID name, I'm trying to accessing now. Let me take a script. Thank you. Now this comment is access ID. Access ID. Let me access the ID called first one. Document dot get element by ID. Which ID name here? ID name is 1. And don't give index here. So don't give 0, 1, 2, 3, something like this. So this is not a list. This is not a couple of items. There is no couple of items like a classes. There is no couple of items like a tag names. ID is unique dot inner HTML. Let me try to give the dot inner HTML. Let me give the other one. Okay, which one is going to be updating now? Which one is going to be updating now? ID called 1. ID called 1 is getting updating. Now ID called 2. ID called 2. So let me give the NumPy. ID 3. ID 3. It's getting updating with delay. So in this way, I can able to update element inner HTML by the ID name. Document dot get element by ID. So please observe that this is not plural. This is not a couple of items, not elements. But in the previous program, access by elements, here S added. Can you see and observe S added? Elements. Elements by tag name. Even in the classes also elements by class name. But when I come to the ID, this time it is element, not elements, element. Okay, try to remember it. These syntaxes are very simple. So please write down all the syntaxes in the notes and make it highlight, make it boxes, whatever it may be. But these things are very, very important. Okay, so all these IDs are got updated. First ID got updated with Hyderabad, second ID got updated with Mumbai, third ID got updated with Delhi. Is it clear? Is this complex?
No, sir.
Document dot get elements by tag name, document dot get elements by class name, document dot get element by ID. Okay. Now let me write a point. Inner HTML method. What is this inner HTML method can do? What inner HTML can do? This is a JavaScript method which is using for update inner text of an element. Okay, what dot style dot property? What dot style property can do? What dot style can do? This is a JavaScript method. This is the JS method which is using for change CSS. Which is using for change CSS properties or change CSS properties from JavaScript. Okay. How to write this one? Dot style dot color is equal to red. Syntax and that. Dot style dot font style is equal to italic. In this way, you have to update the CSS. And how to write inner HTML? Dot inner HTML is equal to something like a whatever the value you want, you can just give something like a triple S. Okay. Inner HTML method is using for updating the inner text or getting the inner text or deleting the inner text, whatever it is. But dot style is going to be changing the CSS from JavaScript. It's very important. Now let's go and try to discuss about a concept called variables. The major any programming language you take, how the data is going to be storing by the variable name. You will be having a lot of data types, right? So there are multiple kind of data types we have in JavaScript. But all this kind of data, for example, we have integer, we have a float, we have a string, we have an array, we have an object, we have a null type, we have an undefined data type. See, we will be having a lot of data types which are going to be available in JavaScript. But all these data types, the data is going to be storing with. For example, let me take a variable. Suppose this is a variable. Circle is a variable. Okay, this variable name is C. Now we have another variable. This is a variable. This is a rectangular, right? Rectangular RC. Rectangular. For example, we will be having another variable. We will be having another variable. This is the square variable, square. And we will be having another variable. What kind of variable this one? This variable name is triangle, T. Okay, here we have some data. For example, I got some data in the C. What kind of data it is? I have some other kind of data which is going to be storing in rectangular 10.5. This is the kind of floating data. Is it clear? Let me have a, this is not having any data. This is undefined type. And here I will be having some string. Let me have some string here in this. A 3. 3 is the data I'm storing into the 3 is the data I'm storing into the triangle. Now, what this C is, what this C is, what this RC is, what this SC is, what this T is. Tell me. Here we have some names for this each and every diagram. We have 4 diagrams here. For each and every diagram is a container. Imagine every diagram is a container. And this container has some names. What is the container called? Circle. Circle container name is what? C. Rectangular container name is what? RC. Square container name is what? Yes. And T container name is what? A triangle box is there. Not triangular box is there. Now that name is what? T. See, we have some specifications for each and every diagram. That specification is something called a name. Name is something like a variable. And each and every variable, suppose this C contains some data called 10. And this RC have some data called 10.5. And this S, we don't have any data. That is something like empty. But this T containing some data called 3. Every variable can contain some value. Value is important. Without having value, we can't able to use in the real time. But your variable is a kind of type. What is the type of C? What is the type of C?
Integer.
Tell me. Integer. Exactly. What is the kind of RC?
Float.
Exactly. What is the kind of this T?
Character.
T. No character, not character. There is no character data type in JavaScript. What is the kind of T? Sir, it's a string.
String.
It's a string. It's a string file. Okay. Let's go and define a new program. Okay. Remember one thing. In JavaScript, this font is okay now. This font is visible.
Yes, sir.
In JavaScript, variables are going to be creating with var data. Var data type. In JavaScript 5, let me give JavaScript 5, or this is called ECMAScript ES5. This is called ES5. In ES5, variables are going to be creating with var data type. Var, important, var keyword with the var, not data type, var keyword. This is called keyword. Okay, let me go with some other programming languages. In other programming languages, I'm talking about. This is variables. What is variable? First of all, what is variable? What is variable? Question. Variable is a container which can store some value. which can store some value. Okay, that is variable. Variables in other programming language. In other programming, I'm talking about something like Java, C# or C++. In other programming, whenever you want to define some variable, first of all, data type is required. Int x is equal to 10. Int x is equal to 10, or int x is equal to 10, or floating type I want to go for. Float y is equal to 10.5. For example, I want to define a string. String s is equal to something like a string. Try to observe here. In other programming language, I'm talking about. In other programming language, variables are going to be defining with the data types. First of all, data type declaration is important. Declaring variable using with the data type in other programming language. But variables in JavaScript is different. Variable declared in JavaScript in JS is different. Variable declared in JS is completely different. A global keyword you can use. What is a global keyword? Where x is equal to 10, where y is equal to 10.5, something like this. Where z is equal to Srini. So we have a different kind of data types now. See, the session is going to be ending in 1 minute. Please join one more time. Huh? I'm telling to everyone, session is going to be ending in 1 minute. Please join one more time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now
Yes.
variables declare in JavaScript. In JavaScript, all the variables we are declaring with a different kind of data called integer or floating type or string type. But where is the global keyword? No need to define int float string. No need to define int float string here. So one note point I'm telling. No need to define with note. What is the note here is? No need to define your type of data. Your type of data before variable name. Before variable name. Before variable name, no need to define the type of data.